guys, welcome back to the Fulco. Just doing another quick look at the Mohammed Kudus signing and a few areas that I think we will see him most deployed under Thomas Frank. Now, if you enjoy this kind of stuff, please do jump over to the Spurs channel where I first use these videos and discuss these with Jim. There's some great content over there. Go and check it all out. We definitely had a good time discussing this potential signing, but now we're absolutely delighted to have Kudus signed, sealed and delivered. All the official announcements have been made by the club on the official channel, so we can jump into this with complete confidence that we're not just about to be gazumped by Chelsea or anything like that. So very much looking forward to having a player of the profile of Mohammed Kudus and his ability coming in. He definitely raises the level of the first team, certainly as a take-on specialist and somebody who is going to progress the ball at feet. So the two ways I think we will most see Kudus playing under Thomas Frank is going to be on the right hand side as a wide forward, so he's a left footer, and I think he will play on the right hand side of a 4-3-3. And I also believe that Thomas Frank might deploy him as a number 10, which we'll look at in a second. But let's have a look at the 4-3-3. You can see my team set up here. We've got the 4 across the back. Let's not forget the goalkeeper, of course. I think we will deploy a narrow 3, and I've said this a few times because I believe this is the way that we will be able to generate rotations. It's much easier to do it if you play with a narrow 3 that can rotate freely, and I think they will all have differing roles depending on who the 3 that play in the midfield are. And then here you can see the front 3, of which Kudus is playing on the right hand side. And we'll see why that is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to progress this quite quickly. I'm not going to do a version where we play through the phases and we use the midfield to get position on the right hand side. I'm going to look at a quicker break forward, so moving the ball forward very quickly to try and isolate Kudus against the fullback. And one of the things you can see here with that black arrow is that I am looking at this with the point of view if the fullback who he's up against does step out, I think we might be looking to free Kudus. He's very explosive, he's very dynamic, he's got good pace. I think if somebody tries to get tight and times it wrong, we are going to try and flip him in behind. This is the kind of thing that I believe Thomas Frank will be quite pragmatic about. So we've seen here the fullback, someone like Pedro Porro, who has great delivery, has played the ball forward quickly. Kudus gets the ball to feet now. He has options at this point in time, and what I'm thinking about is going to be that yellow shaded area. So this is isolating the opposition player, playing 1v1, which is where Kudus really excels, and he's going to have the option of going either side. So that's those two black lines. He can go on the outside, and that's what I've chosen to demonstrate in this particular graphic, or take on the inside. So if he takes on the outside, you're looking at him driving towards his right foot, which is his least favoured foot, but he's still very good technically. And then the idea being that he moves towards the byline and then makes a decision on the type of delivery. Now, I would argue that from what I've seen, if he does go on his right foot, if he does go towards the byline, the delivery will be of a simpler nature. So we're going to see something quite similar to what was done under Ange Postecoglou. Whereas if he comes in, we'll see something slightly different. So let's roll this on a little bit and see how it takes place. So in this particular situation, I've identified that if we do manage to get Kudus 1v1, it's going to ask questions of the opposition. Okay, we'll roll it back a little bit just so we can get into that position and see it here. So as we move into this position where Kudus is 1v1, it asks a question of the opposition wide player, so they're going to want to double up to try and give him far less space, or with the potential of Kudus going on the inside, it's going to ask questions of the centre half and then the defensive midfielders. It's going to pull players across. So if the centre half does have to come across to provide extra support as this player is doing their recovery run, what it is going to open up is this central zone. And one of the things that I'm really hoping with Kudus playing on the right is that we could valorize Dom Solanke a bit more than we have. I still think he's going to do plenty of running, plenty of pressing as he did previously, but what I really want to see is him getting more of these high percentage chances that Thomas Frank really likes to create. And I think that a player like Kudus could do that for us. So if we move this on, we can see we've got an option here to get towards the byline, and then you've either got the ball across the 6-yard box, which is a very difficult one for the opposition to defend, and it's going to allow players to run on, so players coming in at the back post for tap-ins. We've also then got cutbacks available to us, so that could be to a striker who's moved in and then pulled back out or halted their run at the right time. So they could be getting a very high percentage chance here. It could also be for midfielders who are going to be asked to get forward and get into these positions, so that we are taking plenty of shots and having plenty of chances in this central zone. So there's a much higher chance of getting a shot on target or scoring a goal. I think what we could see as well is, as we just move this on, we roll it on and we get to the end of the graphic, is we see that you generate different opportunities and you give opposition different questions to answer depending on who's playing. So in that particular example, we had Kudus able to go inside, to go outside, and the other thing I would say, if I just go back to that video, we could also see the opportunity for Kudus to make inroads, so coming on the inside, and if we do that, we're going to have him on his favoured left foot, so I'll stop it there. So if he does go on this inside channel or moves along the edge of the box, he's going to be on his favoured left foot, and that is the situation where he's going to be open up and able to have shots. And we've seen him, he has got a decent strike on him, so we're going to be hoping to see him unleashed in this area and having plenty of opportunities to shoot on goal. Now the next video, the one that I want to show you, is him making the number 10 position something that he's going to be focusing on. So I've taken away all the opposition players in this particular one just to make it a bit easier to understand. Now in this particular example, I've used the wing back coming up to free up Kudus to move into the number 10 position. So if we roll this back, I believe that if we do deploy this, we might use it out of a 5-3-2 or a 3-5-2, however you want to describe it. So 3 at the back with wing backs, 3 in midfield, which you can see here. I still believe Kudus will play on the right hand side. I don't think he'll move into that central role, and then 2 players up front. So whether that's 2 out and out strikers, so to speak, or it's a central striker and then a number 10 who's playing in and around the striker and then getting up when we get good possession and good field position. So I think that Kudus is going to have opportunities playing out of a back 5 to come into the middle and to really operate in that number 10 role as he does for the national team of Ghana. And so if we just stop it here, you can see that Kudus is moving into a position where he's going to be able to interact with other players. Okay, so you can see that as we move it. I've left that little green triangle, keep your eye on that. That little green triangle is him coming in and playing, so narrowing off with these players, whether it be one of the strikers, with the 2 midfielders, whoever it might be. It could be any one of these players, but creating overloads, creating rotations, coming in and then giving opposition players a problem. So whenever the opposition is set up to mark zonally, this is the kind of thing that is going to ask questions of them. How disciplined are they? How concentrated are they? Are they going to follow their players? Are they going to have the confidence to go all the way in? If he's driving inwards, whether with or without the ball, is the opposition left-sided player going to go all the way in? Are they going to try and pass him off to somebody else? And in that moment, are we going to be able to create a bit of space or a gap or a hole to do something with the ball? So This is where I think he'll drive inwards and start to interact, and this is a start of him being deployed in a more number 10 style role. And then if we play this forward, you can see that he continues to come in, and you can see the movements of the other players. The defenders move into a more orthodox back four because we've thrown one of the wing backs up. So this player has lots of opportunity. We could be bouncing the ball in and back out to this player to then deliver or drive or do anything they want to do with it. As I've said in previous videos, players crashing the box, so players getting in there so we get numbers into the box, play quickly and then try and destabilize the opposition. You've got the 8 in this particular scenario, it doesn't matter who it is, but whoever the player is, they're in there to play and to interact with the other players to progress the ball, but also to provide a bit of cover if we do give the ball away. And the reason I think we'll deploy a back 5 in situations where Kudus might end up in the number 10 is because he is a ball carrier, so he's more so with the ball at feet than he is playing passes, and so I think that he will look to take players on. He'll look to beat the first man in midfield, which then creates gaps for others, and if that is the case, there are times that the ball is going to be given away, and then if you've got this kind of stable back 4, or you can even throw one of these players in and you've still got a back 3 in position and then more players to congest this area for the counter press, you give yourself much more solidity and much more cover and opportunity to both recover the ball and delay the opposition for your returning defensive runs. So that's what I think will happen, and then we'll just play it on a little bit. And so here we go. It's just moved on to the next video. If we move it all the way on to the end position here, you can see that Kudus finds himself in that more traditional number 10. And then we've got our 2 strikers moving up here, and then wide forwards and wing backs getting forward as well. So opportunities for balls played through in between the defenders and in between midfielders, and maybe in this position it's not quite so easy to provide crosses, so you will be looking to interact with other players who can provide width. Or the final thing that I think will happen is not just being able to use this player to bounce balls out there, but this player on either side could then get into that lovely half space that Thomas Frank really enjoys, and be able to provide crosses from there as well. So you're creating overloads. If you've got 2 players coming out here, you won't normally allow the opposition to double up on you. They'll each have 1 player on them, and then that starts to drag players over and create other gaps. And again, that's the situation. You want players making really good decisions, getting in there, beating the first man, and then laying the ball off into dangerous areas to create lots and lots of chances. That's what we're hoping for. That's what we want to see from Thomas Frank's side. Let me know what you think. Mohammed Kudus playing on the right in a 4-3-3. Obviously, he could also do that in a 4-2-3-1, or coming inside and playing as part of a 5-3-2 or 3-5-2 and playing more of a number 10 role and taking players on in more central areas. Do get involved in the comments. If you do like this stuff, let me know. If you don't like this stuff, let me know. And I'll see you very soon for the next video. Come on, Tottenham.